Internet, I'm Hugo.
And I'm Jake, and we are heroes.
And this is Unpopular Culture, episode 2. There's a lot of stuff going on today. Today we're talking about comic book news. I'm not going to spoil it right now, but something big happened in the first issue of the new Captain America series.
It's a meme at this point, like it already happened. If you don't know what happened about Captain America at this point, go on Twitter for like 2 seconds, come back to us, it'll be unspoiled by then, and then you can come back and be part of the conversation.
So we'll talk about that. Then we're going to talk about the new Star Trek Beyond trailer and the new season of Star Trek that's supposed to come out next year.
Both of those were teased like right after the last episode of Unpop, right? Like right after we recorded it.
Yeah, pretty much. It was like right after. It's vertical integration is what they call that. We got to get everyone hyped for their treks. This happened a while ago, but I wanted to talk about the new Power Ranger suits for the movie coming out next year. They finally revealed the suits, and I don't like them, so I'm going to bitch about that.
And on top of that, there's some more Power Rangers news to be had with it that we can definitely bitch about. Maybe bitch about, maybe be excited about, probably bitch.
And the last thing we're going to talk about is Disney Channel is airing all of their Disney Channel original movies over this weekend. So if you have cable, like an old person, you can check that out, or you can just torrent all of them like I do. But still, we're going to talk about that and which ones are our favorites. So it's going to be a pretty mediocre episode. You can probably leave now.
Thanks for the click.
Yeah. So first of all, Captain America. If you don't want to hear the spoiler, if you're into the Captain America comics and you haven't read the first issue of the new Steve Rogers Captain America comic, skip ahead to some point where we're not talking about that. Should we give you a timestamp? Probably. I'm not gonna. Okay, here we go. So if you don't know, for the past, I want to say it's either a year or 2 years, Falcon, who if you only watch the movies you know is the Falcon, he's been Captain America. Because Steve Rogers, the super soldier serum, something fucked up and he became an old man and he's been doing something different in different comics. But now, finally, he has his triumphant return as Captain America. He has a brand new shield that isn't round anymore. It's got like a sword in it, which is weird. And then at the end of the first issue of Captain America Steve Rogers, we find out that all this time, not a clone, not brainwashed, all this time from 1940s until now, Steve Rogers has been an agent of Hydra.
Yeah, and there's a really popular picture going around, which is the meme, which has been great, by the way, and I'll talk about that in a second. But basically, it's just him, and he tied some dude up. I don't know who the guy is. It's probably important if you're into the comics, but I don't know. And it's just that splash page, basically, Steve Rogers standing behind him, and a tiny speech bubble right next to his mouth, and it just says, "Hail Hydra."
Yeah.
Which I thought, first time I saw it, was like, oh, neat. I dig that. I'm good with that. Like, I'm fine. Like, that's something that would happen in comics. It's been run since World War II. Literally, real life. Captain America has been a character since World War II. People that remember that aren't even alive anymore. Like, you know what I mean? Yeah. So, we're into the point where maybe you can jump the shark a few times, I think. More than, it's already happened plenty of times. So, and this isn't even, as far as jumping the shark is concerned, this is like a baby shark and like a tiny, just barely breaching the water jump.
What bugs me about it, I think, could be encapsulated in another image macro I saw, and it was that image of him saying, "Hail Hydra," and then next to it, it was Spider-Man in the same image, and he says, "Fuck responsibility," and then the next one, it was Daredevil,
Batman.
And he goes, "I could see all along," and then Batman
was like, "I shot my parents." Yeah, that's it's so like, good, man.
They're taking a key element of the character and basically flipping it over, which in and of itself is a neat idea. But the problem is, and this is one of the reasons I don't get into comics hardcore. Comics are awesome, but I probably only read 3 comics a year. And I don't mean like just single books. I mean runs. Generally, I'll read a run of a comic. Like last year, I read the first 3 hardcover editions of the Scott Snyder Batman, and it was really good. This year I've read Back to the Future, which was good, surprisingly, and I've read
New 52 Batman for sure, right?
Yeah,
at some point.
And I read what the fuck was the other one? Oh, Doctor Who comics. I've been reading the Titan Doctor Who comics, which aren't that great, but I really like Doctor Who, so I had to check them out. Anyway, I'm not huge into comics. One of the reasons I don't go to comic book stores all the time and pick things out and get invested is because every couple years, every year, there's usually a big event, and they change the universes all the time. There's all these big gimmicks. Comic books have become gimmick machines, and I understand they don't make as much money as they used to. Even with the success of Marvel's movies, their comic book division isn't making money. So they need to do these gimmicks, or so they think. I think, though, we all know, even if yes, right now he's Hydra. We know in a year they're going to turn out, oh no, Red Skull brainwashed him to believe he was with Hydra the whole time.
It's gonna be something. There's no way you leave Steve Rogers as a Hydra agent. Even if all those years he's not gonna be in a little bit. Like, it's gonna be fine. Someone's gonna do like some sort of deep talk with him. Maybe Falcon will, and be like, Steve, we've been friends. And Steve is like, yeah, I know, Bucky died. And he's like, then they cry, embrace each other, and then they're gay. Which has also been another thing about Captain America. They want him to be gay, which is super weird. You know, like, we don't force gay people to be straight, man. Like, you don't have to force straight guys to be gay. If Steve Rogers wants to suck a dick, he could suck a dick. Let's be real.
He could suck a super dick. He'd be really good at sucking dick, probably. A super soldier serum, I guarantee that German doctor was like, it gives him super strength and super speed. Also, he's good at sucking dicks, and the military was like, what? And he goes, nothing.
Except all that would be in a German accent. It was a
yeah,
German scientist. He'll be good at sucking the dicks.
Yeah, but basically, I'm just... If they didn't do gimmicks like this all the time, I'd be like, oh, that's interesting. Maybe they can do something with that. But they're not gonna. In a year, it's gonna be undone. It's gonna retcon. Comic book creators, if you want people to get into comics, stop with the gimmicks. Write strong stories that last for a while. Good arcs. And I'd get invested.
You don't even need an overall arc. You can just have vignettes.
Sure, and
like it's fine. Like, it doesn't even matter. Like, old timey comic books didn't really have an arc. It was kind of like, oh, who's Batman facing this week? Well, it's the Joker.
Sure,
or it's fucking Clock Guy, Calendar Man. You know,
the last really good comic I read too was the Alias comics, the Bendis Jessica Jones comics, because I read those after I watched the Netflix show. Those are really good. It's very self-contained. It's like 4 books. And it's just a self-contained story. It's really good. It didn't need to be gimmicky. It was just a good story. And DC's doing something right now, too. After New 52, people had complaints about... We're getting way off track. But after this, I swear, we'll move on. After New 52, people had complaints about certain characters and stuff. And now they're doing Rebirth right now, which is they're rebooting the universe again, kind of. It's a soft reboot. They're doing a thing with Wally West Flash... who had disappeared from the universe. Now he's breaking back into the universe, and in doing so, it's still the New 52 universe, but it's getting tweaked, basically. The characters are changing, and
I feel like you don't even have to write that in. You can just fucking do it.
Yeah, and...
you know what I mean? I don't know.
They're bringing the Watchmen, the Watchmen from Watchmen.
Yeah.
They're now bringing them into the actual, like, DC universe with Batman and stuff.
You know, that's one of my favorite comics of all time. I guess it's a graphic novel, but it's it's a comic as well. Like, It's obviously a comic. What a great just story, well written. Although I think the movie ending, if there's one thing the movie has over it, the ending in the movie is far better.
Instead of like a giant alien squid.
Yeah, and instead of a giant alien squid, it's like, we made people think it was Dr. Manhattan, which makes so much sense.
Yeah, you just praised Zack Snyder. That's amazing.
I don't even know if that was his turn. It was his fault that happened. But yeah, maybe. Maybe. What I didn't like was the weird floaty sex scene. It's like, here's a tit. You're welcome. Signed, Zack Snyder.
They had to equal out the blue dong. They had to put a boob in there somewhere.
Last thing I want to touch on about the Captain America things is, as gimmicky as it is, like, comic book fans, hardcore comic book fans, you know that this is a gimmick. Don't fucking send death threats to the guy that wrote it. Like, it's not a big deal. It's a fucking comic book character. There's 7 different runs of Captain America, I think. It's like there's so many options. Go to a different comic book then. Like, I don't know. Try Hawkeye. Hawkeye's supposed to be pretty cool.
Yeah, I don't understand people are doing that. And I heard some of the people on Twitter, it's people who only follow, like, the Marvel movies. They're not really into comic books, so they don't understand how retconny comics get. So they're like, why would you do that? And they think it's going to be in the movies and stuff, which it's not. That's stupid. Yeah. Like I said, pretty casual. I don't read that many comics, but come on, it's a comic book. I enjoy them when I read them, but chill the fuck out, people.
Yeah, anyway. Get over yourself. So moving on to something that has pretty shitty comic books, but luckily we're only talking about cinematics. Star Trek, right?
Yeah.
New Star Trek's coming out. Mixed feelings on the first trailer, obviously. I think most people are like, ooh, I don't know about that. Not a huge white rapper fan.
I actually like the Beastie Boys, but I hate the J.J. Abrams version in the first movie where they do the sabotage. It's like, oh, it's so out of place. Let me first say, the J.J. Abrams Star Trek, I enjoy it for what it is. It's a very action-y Star Trek, which the movies have always been more action-y compared to the shows. I understand that. But it's not my favorite version of Star Trek ever. I'm going to say that. It's all right, though. I can enjoy it for what it is.
Gotta go Sir Pat Stew TNG for your favorite Star Trek, right?
Yeah, that's definitely Next Generation.
It's cerebral. The thing is with that, though, like, they ran out of character stories pretty quick. Like, were we talking the other day where Data's story is basically, I'm not really a human?
Yeah.
Like, it's every single time, I'm not human enough. And Patrick Stewart's basically like, my leadership, am I good enough? And, you know. The other guy,
the TNG movies fucked that shit up too. And in Generations, all of a sudden, Data's like, "Oh, I had this emotion chip this whole time," which they do address in the series. I remember the episode where he got it, but he put it away, and he's like, "Maybe later because I'm not ready for it now." Then in the movie, because it's a movie, and they're like, "We need to up the stakes." They're like, "Oh, put in Data's emotion chip," and it has zero bearing on the plot. It's so stupid. Again, Star Trek movies, at least after the original series ones, have never been the series' strong suit. None of the Next Generation movies are particularly good. None of the Next Generation movies are a Wrath of Khan or a The Voyage Home. I feel like
Nemesis was popular for a little bit, like in circles.
People hate Nemesis now because it
I know now, but when it came out, I feel like there was buzz. Maybe it's because it was the general audience and the people that watched the series were like, nah, no, thank you.
It almost killed Mad Max's career in its crib. Tom Hardy, he's in that movie. He plays evil young Picard, who is bald.
That was weird.
Yeah. Why is he bald in that movie? Because he's.
Did you see? There's actually on YouTube, this is not far off from the topic. There's actually like he had actual acting chops, and in the scenes they cut, or like maybe the read throughs, he's like super like really good. You can see like, oh yeah, Tom Hardy and Patrick Stewart in a scene. Fuck yeah. And then like it's what is it called? Screenings or
pre-screenings?
Pre-screenings, test screenings. Yes, they were trying to see if they had chemistry.
Sure.
And they're basically just met each other. My goodness, so good. And then you get into the movie and he's all made up and fucking corny and it's awful.
Yeah.
And I was so disappointed. You can go on YouTube right now and just look up like Tom Hardy Nemesis and find those. But man. Yeah, so Star Trek, the second trailer just came out, which is the point of all of this.
Yeah.
And I think they redeemed themselves a little bit. They did what Ghostbusters did not do.
You know, it's funny because I'm actually excited for this one because Simon Pegg wrote the script, who is Scotty in this, and you know him from the Cornetto trilogy. He's a huge Star Trek fan, which is why I'm excited that he wrote it. And even he hated the first trailer. He's like, yeah, that's not the movie I wrote, was like what he tweeted, basically. And I think Jeremy Lin, who did the Fast and the Furious, the most
Jeremy Lin, the basketball player?
No, what's his name? His last name is Lin. Fuck.
Yeah, you know.
Something Lin. He directed the last Fast and the Furious, where...
he's the director for this one.
Yeah, he's the director for this, which these movies are more action-y. I could see it. I'm not against it. And this trailer did make me excited because it definitely had that air of exploration. It looks like this is them setting out on their 5-year mission.
It's like midway through, I believe. I think it said 2 or 3 years into their 5-year mission
neat.
Is when this movie takes place. And we're actually encountering a brand new race, never before on screen. Although it has, was it Crawl or something like that? Crawl by Idris Elba. Crawl, that's what it is. And I believe that at some point they had something to do with those lizard folk that Captain Kirk used to hammer punch.
Oh, why can't I remember the name? Oh, I love that episode though. That's a great episode.
Yeah. Gorgon or something?
Gorn.
The Gorn. Yes, the Gorn that he used to hammer punch. Yeah, I get something to do with that, but it doesn't in this. It's just a new thing, and they look really, really rad.
Yeah.
And it looks like they get stranded on an alien planet, which is much cooler, I think. We've done the space battles the last 2 movies. I think we're good.
Which, honestly, that's most of the episodes of the original series, are they beam down to a planet and they get trapped there for some reason. So that's...
Totally.
And you had mentioned this to me, the rocks and the sets, they're reminiscent of updated versions of the old sets. Like, it still looks kind of weird. It doesn't look like a real rock. It almost looks like the color of the styrofoam shitty fake rocks from the old show, but like real. And I was like, oh yeah.
But it kind of has a little bit of a charm to it, but because it's clearly updated and it's most certainly a callback. And like even Chris Pine in this, I mean, he looks aged and he looks more like original Kirk, and I think the outfits are better. They've clearly, they had kind of did that thing that the first Spider-Man movies did, where they had like a lot of texture on their outfits.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It seems like in this trailer they've gone to the straight cloth sort of like callback versions. I dig that. And I think there was, it kind of had a Phantom Menace-esque thing going on with it the first time around, where it was like, oh, it's in the past, but it kind of feels like really, really, really modern. And this is kind of getting back to its roots where it should be. And so I think stylistically, so far, it looks like a good film.
I think it looks fine. I think the action looks fun. I'm sure the interaction will be fine. I actually really like Zachary Quinto as Spock. He's no Leonard Nimoy, but no one's going to be Leonard Nimoy.
He's a good Spock.
I think for finding a replacement, if you're going to do Spock, he's a fine replacement. Chris Pine, I don't hate the dude, but I've never really bought him as Kirk. I think he's fine as his own captain, but I've never felt like, oh yeah, this is young Captain Kirk. I
feel like he'll be Kirk in this. He looks so much like there's a shot at about 28 seconds into the trailer, and he's kind of looking out into the, the viewport or whatever you want to call it in the cabin there. And man, that's just such a Kirk look.
Well, that's what
Even
I'm hoping.
His eyebrows
are
up
movie,
there.
Especially if what you said is true and they're in the middle of their 5-year mission and we haven't seen it. I'm hoping he's matured a little bit. Like, he could still be fun, actiony, 2016 Kirk, but, have a little bit of that
he looks very
Kirk
mature.
Bravado, but not so much that it's like an obnoxious teenager. That's all I'm asking.
You don't put a man in a almost turtleneck and not make him mature. Let's be real.
If nothing else, the turtleneck will force him to be mature. It's a maturity turtleneck, chokes you just a little bit, so you're like, I gotta pay taxes.
Yeah. And actually, right around the same time, maybe it was the same day, they also released a trailer for, well, not really a trailer, a teaser for the new Star Trek series, which could be cool. Although I think the idea on releasing it is garbage.
Oh, yeah. If you guys don't know, the new Star Trek series, what they're going to do, because CBS is run by old people who are morons who are trying to get with the kids these days. The first episode's going to be released on CBS normally. Every other episode is supposed to, and I say supposed to because I guarantee they're going to get to episode 5 and say, fuck it, we're broadcasting it on TV. They're doing their own Netflix-style streaming service called CBS All Access. So it's like $5 a month, and you get all of CBS's shows.
CBS doesn't have enough. Like, AMC could probably pull that off.
Maybe. Even then,
But they'd have to get a lot more properties. Like, let's be real. $5 a month for what CBS puts out?
No,
thank you.
And I'm sure there are plenty of Star Trek fans who will be like, oh yeah, I'll pay $5 a month for new Star Trek. I'm not gonna.
That's $5 for 4 episodes.
Yeah, I'm
realistically.
I'm not, and it sounds a little entitled to say like $5 for 4 episodes. That's pretty reasonable. Yeah, but it's more the principle of I think that's a bad idea. I'm voting with my wallet on this one.
But they're only putting out like what, 12 to 24 episodes?
Oh, it's not gonna be.
You're not getting a year's. You're not gonna. Well, I know, but the old runs used to be like the TNG kind of got up there.
Yeah.
But you're not getting a year's worth out of that.
No.
I mean that's so like. That's $60 for like 12 episodes.
I'm avidly against this. Right now, I knew this was going to happen, and everyone kind of knew this was going to happen after Netflix really took off and Hulu took off. They knew that different content creators were going to kind of try and split off and do their own thing, and we knew the different networks were going to try and do their own streaming services.
Doesn't work. We want to be consolidated.
I hope that doesn't catch on, and I'm not going to subscribe to any of those, single individual channel type streaming services, because
I would do streaming a la carte where everyone is in on this one hub. Like maybe you do it through PlayStation, Xbox. You could even go through Netflix, and we can add you for $1.
See,
I would do that.
That's so close to cable. It's better than cable because cable doesn't. They have packages, not a la carte, but it'd be better.
Right.
But they'd all need to have pretty good selections.
I would buy sports packages all the time, and I would buy these nerdy things. Like I would buy Star Trek and the stuff surrounding that for $1. Like absolutely to get it whenever it comes out for sure. And like if you add it onto Netflix and maybe you had I don't know, Netflix, you can call it Netflix Plus or something, and then you can here's 10 things, pick 10 things for $3 more a month. Do it. Yes, please. Like add things to the list of things that I can get. Yeah. And it wouldn't be just like one content. It wouldn't be like you get this season of blank. It'd be like, no, you get everything that this company does.
Sure.
I'm fine with that, because that way you get like you could bring Doctor Who back. BBC could have a $1 package,
BBC
or something like that.
Again, we're getting off track, but BBC pulled Doctor Who off Netflix, which is the dumbest decision they could make for that show because so many new people get into Doctor Who via Netflix, so they're going to lose new people. They put it on Amazon Prime Video, which I hate because the interface is garbage and their selection isn't very good. Also, it freezes a lot. Their player isn't very good. And now they're talking about starting, again, with this whole trend, they're talking about starting their own BBC streaming service, which at least the BBC has a lot of content. The BBC comes out with probably more new programs regularly than any network I'm aware of, usually because they have short runs. They do like 1 or 2 series and then they just end the show. But still, I hate that idea. I don't know, but Star Trek show. What we know from the teaser. Pretty much the only information involved is that it says new crews, plural. And the rumor before this teaser had even come out was that it was going to be an anthology series where each season was going to be a new crew, a new ship, maybe even a new era of Star Trek, so it could bounce around between the original series, Next Generation, after that, in between, all that jazz. Also, the rumor is that it takes place in the original Star Trek universe, not the J.J. Abrams reboot universe, so...
And I'm okay with that in theory, but I'm worried it's going to get True Detectived, where the first season is really good. You got the exact people you want, but you kind of committed to this every season's going to be different motif, which is okay, but you kind of run out of your actors and ideas. So I would rather it be... If you really want to change it up that much, be the same crew and just random plots through time.
Sure.
And you can kind of piece the story together as you go because it's kind of interesting that way. You can Tarantino it a little bit. Or maybe like, here's, this is this year and then maybe we'll go to another crew, but also the same crew that you were with season 1 still exists and they kind of interact a little bit and you kind of pass the torch that way.
Yeah.
Like you can't just kind of like cold turkey people like that. It just doesn't work. True Detective Season 2 is a testament to that. They canceled Season 3 because it was so garbage.
I'm glad they're trying something different, sweet. And I'm not going to sit here and say I actually, the only Star Trek series I was able to watch while it was on live week by week was Enterprise. And I was going to say. And I'm not kidding you. I watched the pilot, the first episode. I was like, yeah. And I watched the first season week by week by week. At the time, I enjoyed it. In hindsight, no, it's not that great. But I like Scott Bakula. And I thought the idea was interesting. I'm glad they're trying something new here, at least, so we don't just get a retread. Because let's be honest, Star Trek, there's been the original series, Next Generation, Deep Space Nine, Voyager, and Enterprise. We've had 5 Star Trek series. It's been done to death. Let's be real. And I love Star Trek. I love it. There's not a single series of Star Trek that I categorically can say I hate. They all have good parts. They all have bad parts. But we've seen the crew get together, and we've seen them do episodic episodes. And, as much as I love The Next Generation, it probably didn't need to be on for 7 years. It dragged on in the middle. And it only really hit its stride in season 3 anyway, so...
Yeah, which is actually when I think I started watching it more, because I was just a kid, but like a little kid. But I think the only one that didn't get the run it deserved was probably the original crew, but they did those damn movies.
Yeah. Those are the only really good, the
first 3 are the good ones, right? Even though one of them has V'ger in it, right?
No, the first one, people like the first one. Some people do. I don't. I like 2. 3's not terrible, but it's not good. 4 is really good. 5 is shit. 6 is good again. So the ones that are good are really good, and the ones that are shit are pretty shit. But overall, they had their run. At least Captain Kirk and Spock they had clear arcs, and by the end they saved the Federation and they brokered peace with the Klingons. It had an arc. Next Generation, their problem was there was never really any conclusion to all their characters. Even Data in Nemesis died. So all his... And by the end you could argue he became pretty much human. And then the other Data android that they found, he started on the same path. All right. And Counselor Troy's there, and they're at a wedding. And it's bad. Anyway. Basically what I'm saying is I'm excited because if they're doing one crew a season, they can have clear arcs for the characters, for the crew, and it doesn't need to drag on. I still want, Monster of the Week episodes, for lack of a better word, where it's just they're in a fun situation, but I'm hoping we don't get too much filler. And that's what
I really wish they would have done a Netflix series like that.
Oh,
Netflix,
that'd be great.
Netflix, if you could kind of PG-13 that shit up a little bit and get a little bit more, not dark, because I don't want it to be dark. No. Not everything needs to be dark and gritty.
It doesn't need to be Daredevil in space.
Much like our next topic. But it doesn't need to be Daredevil. It just needs to be good. And I don't trust CBS with it. I trust Netflix with it. Or AMC would have been good too. But speaking of dark and gritty, I think we have to turn our attention towards Power Rangers, right? I mean, okay, so the new Power Rangers got put out on I don't know, by Lionsgate on whatever costume reveal magazine they did.
It was Entertainment, I think.
Sure, whatever. And mostly negative reviews on it. And here's my take. I see them. They look like Iron Man 1 kind of suits. All the lines point towards their crotches, which is super weird. And they're not really distinct aside from the colors. So it's odd. And what I think would have helped, if you want to go to this like robot suit thing, which makes sense, it's armor, it gives them superpowers, it's better than shiny cloth, right?
Right.
But man, it gives it some personality. Like maybe have the black one with like buckles and stuff on it and like a big axe, and they're gonna have all their unique weapons. Yeah. But I don't know, like add some sort of like leadership to the red one and some acrobatics and to the yellow one and the pink one, and maybe science up the blue one. Like just take not a ton, because oh my god, it's pretty excessive, but just take a tiny hit of whatever the people involved with TMNT had.
It's funny you say that, because that was the comparison I was going to draw. TMNT, which I don't think is a good movie, though the sequel actually looks a little bit better, even though Arrow is fucking Casey Jones. The Turtles each individually have their own stuff going on. You know, Leonardo has his techie shit going on, and you know they each have their own
them apart.
These costumes are a classic over design, if that makes sense. This person
clearly over designed. This is like mid 2000s.
They made this way more complicated than it needed to be, or is warranted. And by the way, I'm a big fan of Power Rangers. I love Power Rangers. Like, unironically, I think Power Rangers is fun as shit. I love cheesy stuff like that.
I like the original run. It is corny, but I like that it was like unashamed about its corniness.
Like
Later on, it gets kind of ashamed of it and it gets cringy. But initially, it's like, hey, let's just have fun with this, Japanese production. Let's put American kids in it and let's own every bit of it. And that was cool. This, it looks like it's going to be a dark thing. Like, that fan film that was really cool that actually got blocked.
Power/Rangers or whatever they called it.
Yeah, that was kind of a cool take on it. A little bit gritty, but still, it was a cool take.
I thought that it was a parody. It was a parody of how serious they make things now. It was a joke.
No, I know it was, but it was still kind of a neat take. I was hoping for something kind of, I don't know, production value, but it wasn't overdone, You saw the suits, it wasn't like crazy.
No.
This is way crazy. This is oh my god, I really enjoyed The Matrix and anything that Legendary put out. Like these guys are huge fans of Pacific Rim, probably. Like just way too much going on. You could have, like, classic and sleek right now is like the design people prefer.
Yeah.
In 2016, like a decade ago, this would have played.
Sure.
It doesn't anymore. You got too much.
Here's my two main problems. If they took these away, it'd be acceptable, but I still wouldn't love them. The like electrical wire line things. I know it's not actually electricity. It's a power of some sort. The lines going all around the suit. Take that away.
Super weird.
And take away the Iron Man arc reactor, and I'd be happy.
It's like a shield that I think is reflective. I don't think it's actually glowing.
See, the fact that
I agree with you, though.
The wires
take it away.
Go to it makes me think it's going to be some power source, or that's the source of their power or some shit.
Maybe, I don't know.
It would have been fine, but yeah, overdone. I genuinely think a studio went, "Oh, Iron Man's popular. Do that."
Yeah, exactly. This was not the first or even fifth design that the art team came up with.
No,
this was a production company saying, "No, it's got to be more." Don't listen to the old people. The old people don't know what we want.
I guarantee
this is not it.
I guarantee that whoever owns the rights to the toys for this movie had input.
Oh fuck yeah!
We need glowy shields. Kids like glowy shields. Make the blue one look like fucking Blue Beetle from the comics. Whatever.
Awful. And I guarantee the last scene in it's going to be a Green Ranger tease. Also, Lionsgate CEO John Feldheimer said the studio may make as many as, and this is a quote, 7 more Power Rangers movies.
No, they won't. I'm going to say, no. Why would you listen to that guy? He's the CEO of Lionsgate.
Yeah, I know. He goes on to say, we are really, really excited about the Power Rangers movie. we could see ourselves doing 5, 6, or even 7. Dude, just commit to one being good and then be happy if people go to it. Because this is you need to redo yourself if this is your final product suit.
I guarantee I'm going to see this movie regardless because I love Power Rangers, and even if it's shit, oh man, I'm going to relish in it. I'm going to sit in that theater and go, oh yes, this is terrible. I love it. But yeah, I don't know what they're thinking, man. We'll see what happens. Maybe it's good. I hope it's good, but I don't know.
It might have some cool action sequences.
Yeah, it really comes down to the fighting.
Power Rangers lends itself to cool action sequences in kind of over-the-top action, which would be neat. But man, look at that.
I actually they revealed Rita. I don't mind how Rita looks. It's very different than the original, but it's not like the original was going to translate well into a more serious movie anyway,
It's Elizabeth Banks, and she looks like her character from Hunger Games decided to cosplay.
Yeah, a little bit. I'm wondering, I like Elizabeth Banks, so I don't know. I'm hopeful. Don't get me wrong. I still criticize the suits because I don't like them, but
it's not going to be as so bad it's good as the original run of Power Rangers, which means it doesn't get any leeway. So I mean, you're gonna have to really, really do well for people to go to this and be like, oh yeah, I'll see another one, because this is not doing well.
It really just makes you want to watch that shitty movie they did in the 90s with Ivan Ooze.
Oh yeah, man, that hits you right in the nostalgia bone.
Oh,
just like the Disney Channel. Pew, pew, segue.
Yeah, right now, as we said at the beginning, Disney Channel's running all their original movies in a marathon for 3 days or something like that. And if you grew up in the 80s, 90s, early 2000s, you know about Disney Channel original movies. They've been a thing forever. And I think we all have sort of nostalgic memories of at least one of them. Even if you hate 99%, everyone's got to have one Disney Channel original movie that they're like, oh yeah, I remember that one. So Jake, what are some of or just your favorite Disney Channel original movie?
The ones that pop out that I watch the most, I think number one for most people my age is Air Bud. The first one.
Air Bud wasn't a Disney Channel original movie. That was in theaters.
Are you sure?
Oh yeah, Air Bud went to theaters. That's what the 90s were
then
like.
Scratch that. Then it's got to be. I thought they played that on the Disney Channel a bunch.
They played it, but there's a different. It has to be a movie.
Well, then Hocus Pocus.
Is Hocus Pocus one? Yeah, Hocus Pocus is one, isn't it?
Hocus Pocus is the one because Bette Midler almost sang me gay.
Yeah, that was a good movie. Hocus Pocus is...
And now you're mine. Yes. Talking cat? Yes. Witches? Yes.
Hocus Pocus is a Disney Channel original movie that comes so close to being a movie that I genuinely think Disney almost probably put in theaters. It's not grand or anything, but they did get Bette Midler. It was the...
No, it's a good one.
It's a good movie. It's funny.
I think it's fun, yeah.
No, you could be... I don't care who you are. If you don't love the scene where they do that song at the Halloween party, you're fucking lying. You're either lying or you're dead inside.
You're the same person that lies about not liking Go Ninja Go in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles '2. You like it. You don't want to like it, but you fucking like it. The only ones other than that I remember are the 15th year, 16th year,
13th
the Mermaid
year.
Kid. Sure, 13th year, whatever. And there's Brink, which was the rollerblading movie, which was, I guess, cool, but everyone had that same haircut, the bowl cut thing, which was awful. Yeah. And Smart House. Those are the ones I remember.
You just named all of my favorite ones. I love Smart House is my favorite. I don't know why. It's bad. It has Leela from Futurama / Peggy from Married with Children as the Smart House. Oh, if you don't know the premise, by the way, it's this kid who was also in The Luck of the Irish, Disney Channel original movie, in which he finds out he is a leprechaun, which is also awesome.
It's basically a big allegory about racism, isn't it?
Yeah, it's about racism, and everyone in America's, once you're here, you're an American. Except you dirty fucking leprechauns.
Yeah.
Well, that's a good one, too. Oh, God.
I hate that kid. I don't know his name, but I'm glad he died in that one. Didn't he die in one of the Final Destinations?
Final Destination 3. Yeah.
We watched that in your parents' basement, which makes it sound like we also fucked. But that's fine.
Anyway, Smart House. That kid enters a contest to win a home of the future that's a sentient AI. And they win it, and the family moves in, and then the house gets overprotective and becomes a weird 1950s housewife. and they get out at the
Yeah.
end, and then the dad fucks the person who invented the smart house. Surprise! I was impressed at the graphic full penetration they put in that movie for a movie in the early 2000s on the Disney Channel, but it was in there.
There was a finish and everything.
Yeah. Anyway, that one's good. 13th Year is good, where he finds out he's a mermaid. I always confuse that kid for the kid in Smart House because both their careers went nowhere. And I'm not saying like they should have. No, they landed where they needed to.
I think honorable mention to Halloween Town.
Oh, dude, I
1
love
through 5 or whatever.
I love all the Halloween Disney Channel original movies. That was my favorite part of October, actually, was all the Disney Channel shows and movies would go Halloween themed. I remember, like, Even Stevens did a Halloween special that was good. Lizzie McGuire did that shit. And then Halloween Town. Halloween Town 1 is good. Halloween Town 2 is okay. Halloween Town 3 is shit. Halloween Town 4 is shit. Halloween Town 5 is an abortion. So
There's 5? I was joking.
no. Oh, yeah. Return to Halloween Town? Fuck yeah, that exists.
Oh, that's sad.
Yeah.
That's too bad.
The only person who stayed consistent, who was in every single movie, I think, was the grandma too. Oh, and the mom. No, the mom was in all of them too.
They don't have anything else going on. Let's be real. They're just the Halloween Town peeps.
Let's see what other ones. Under Wraps, the Mummy one, that was good.
Oh, that one was good too because he put on the high karate. The cologne,
Yeah.
and it attracted the lady mummy, I think, right? Or did it unattract everyone? I don't know. But then there was also that song they played that gets stuck in my head, which was, "I'm so lonely, I'm all on my own."
Yeah, that's a good song.
But not the Akon one.
No.
Akon took a sample of that later.
Remember The Other Me? That one might have been, you're like 6 years older, so you might have missed that one.
The other me, hit me with the deets.
He, for a science project, he gets, those brine shrimp, the sea monkeys.
Yes.
And then he also puts his hair in the mix that's like the Super Grow mix, and it makes a clone of him. And then
that's not how sea monkeys work.
No, it's not. Wait, maybe they explained it. Did his package get mixed up with? I feel like it was one of those things where the beginning scene was like, his package gets mixed up with some scientist's thing, and then the rest of the movie, the villains are trying to catch the clone because the thing they need is in him.
That sounds about right.
Yeah. Anyway, and then he starts sending the clone to school for him because he doesn't want to, but then the clone becomes more popular than him because he's not like nervous. He's like he has no preconception, so he's like willing to do stuff and like.
That's kind of interesting, I guess. There's the one I can't remember the name of, but it was some girl and she had an imaginary friend who was a black kid, and then it got super weird and creepy.
Don't look under the bed. Don't look under the bed.
Yeah, and then the bad guy, don't look under the bed, and he had like really long fingernails. That one was kind of neat. I remember watching that. I don't remember anything about it really, except like one of the final scenes they sort of fight, but it's awkward. But yeah, that was one of the first ones, wasn't it? But yeah, so I'm excited. I don't have the Disney Channel, but if anyone does, I don't know why you wouldn't be having it on.
There's actually
that's nostalgia bomb.
Last year, there's a torrent. If you do that sort of thing, which you shouldn't because it's illegal. Yeah. There's a torrent of every single Disney Channel original movie. It's like 20 gigabytes, and you can get whichever ones you want. Watch them.
That's too many gigabytes. But yeah, you could do that. Anyone who's like 30 or younger, like you get it, right?
Yeah.
Like if you're an adult, you're all about that shit, right? You'll watch those.
You know what killed?
And some of you guys have kids now. Yeah, do it.
You know what killed the Disney Channel original movie?
Probably Shia LaBeouf.
High School Musical. You want to know why?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Because before you could definitely, and I'm telling you this as a fact, you can draw a line between before High School Musical and after High School Musical as what movies got made into Disney Channel original movies. Before it, you had, like we said, Smart House, The 13th Year, The Other Me.
Sure. Cheetah Girls was right around that time
that was
too.
After,
they might have
that was after.
They might have a bit part.
But yet the point is that before that, there were a lot of different weird ideas that are stupid, but they were fun. After that, every single movie had the same plot. Oh, High School Musical. Basketball player wants to do something he's not supposed to. Be in a musical. Next one. Oh, Corbin Bleu is... I don't remember what his thing was, but he's got a jump rope now, even though that's socially unacceptable. Eddie's $1 Million Cook-Off. Oh, he's a baseball player, but he wants to cook. And then fucking... Bobby Flay's in that movie for 5 minutes. He's like, all right, thanks for the check, Disney.
Wow. Under Wraps was the second ever Disney Channel original movie, by the way. Lucky Dog 4, Brink 3, Halloween Town, 5.
Yeah. But what I'm saying is, Zac Efron ruined Disney Channel for me.
I'm looking at it right now. I'm looking at the timeline, and I don't know. Looks like double teamed. That's so. I made a joke the other day about like what's a movie you can't, the only movie you can't make a porn parody of. This, I guess, is honorable mention for number 2. Holes was number 1, but Xenon the sequel.
Oh, the Xenon movies were awesome. I love those
Jet
movies.
Jackson. Oh my goodness. Yeah, I remember that. True Confessions. Hello.
Was that the one where Shia LaBeouf was mentally handicapped?
I don't know.
I know there was one.
$1 Million Cook-Off?
Yep.
The Cheetah Girls came out August 15th of 2003, which was long before High School Musical, which came out in 2006. But yes, no, before that you still had Twitch's Proud Family movie, Kim Possible movie, Halloween Town High, which was okay.
No, that one was terrible.
Z3.
I hated that one.
It's looking like Cheetah Girls is kind of, but then they had Jump In. See, they kind of had like moments where they might come back, but no, I think Cheetah Girls was like the first stab, and then High School Musical was when they went et tu Brute, and then death. That was the death toll.
They're getting sort of back to it though, because I don't watch Disney Channel anymore, but I know a couple years ago they did the one called like Teen Beach Movie, where the premise was they went to a beach and then it turned into like a 1950s cheesy, so it wasn't the same shit. That happened in an episode of Sabrina the Teenage Witch, actually. So they're ripping off Sabrina, but
Adventures in Babysitting, June 24th of this year. It's coming up.
Isn't that a
High School Musical 4? Ah, fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's never mind. It's not. Although High School Musical 2 had the most views ever in Disney Channel history, which was 17.2 million. Wizards of Waverly placed the movie as second with 11.4. So
I have High School Musical is a guilty pleasure of mine. I do like High School Musical. It's fucking terrible.
I hate musicals. It's garbage.
Oh, I like musicals a lot. It was terrible. High School Musical 2 and 3 suck though.
Fuck Corbin Bleu.
Poor Corbin Bleu.
Why poor Corbin Bleu? He did it to himself. He's named after a cheese.
God damn it, Corbin Bleu. What are you doing? Yeah, I think he's mad that kid beat him out for that movie in Holes. That movie Holes.
Oh yeah. Zero.
I assume that casting choice was solely based upon their hair, so I assume he was a close second.
Gotta be.
But then they realized Shia LaBeouf can't carry Corbin Bleu.
Oh, Corbin Bleu. Anyways,
yeah.
Corbin Bleu, not a fan of Hugo and Jake.
I love you, Corbin Bleu.
I hate you, Corbin Bleu.
Yeah. All right. I think that's enough. So, as per usual, I guess I say usual, this is only episode 2, but you know what we mean. Tell us what you want us to talk about next week in the comments or whatever. You can follow us on Twitter at @RealUnpop, which we're still not using because we're pieces of shit. That was actually my job, so I'm the piece of shit, but you get the idea.
I was going to say, don't you bundle me in there.
I'll bundle you wherever I want.
You can subscribe to us and maybe you'll get bundled in too. with our mouths.
Don't make mouth noises into the...
I only made one. It was a sexy one.
Okay. If you want, you could help support the show by donating to our Patreon. Other than that, until next time, I'm Hugo.
And I'm Jay.
This has been Unpopular Culture. I love you, Corbin Bleu. Corbin Bleu!
Okay. I'd rather just, instead of ever encountering Corbin Bleu, I'd rather rest my face on Zac Efron's abdomen.
He's legal
just
now.
smell it
totally
a little
can.
bit. Very Efron.
He hangs out with Seth Rogen a lot. I think you could like get a wig and pretend you're Seth Rogen, and he might let you.
I don't want to fuck Zac Efron, but I don't not want to fuck Zac Efron.
Oh, if the opportunity to fuck Zac Efron comes out, I don't care if you're the straightest person in the world. You put that dick, you pop it right in your mouth.
That's not fucking. That's
well, you gotta warm him up.